Everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside Now. Tonight, we pay tribute to beautiful Bobby Eaton, one half of the Midnight Express with Dennis Condrey and with Stan Lane and many other people that he teamed with throughout the years. We got to see, me and Rodney, and I think Jack as well, got to see Bobby Eaton from not the beginning, because I don't know that I saw him in 1976 when they say he started. I'm not for sure that I seen him at that point, but we did get to see him in 1978, 1979 for Nick Goulas. Bobby was tremendous from the beginning. He was a wrestling fan. He put up the wrestling rings in Huntsville, Alabama, and I would say Bobby D was there at the time. I think he was a referee, so he probably had something to do with the wrestling ring at that point. But he was a huge wrestling fan, loved professional wrestling, and we got to meet him in 1980. He came to Georgia for Georgia Championship Wrestling. A lot of people said, well, how did he get there? Well, our father had been doing some booking for Nick Goulas, and he saw Bobby Eaton, liked what he saw, and when it came open, he said, we need to get old Bobby Eaton. So that was our time, and we loved Bobby. We made a lot of trips with him at that time. He rode with us a lot to the towns, back from the towns, and it was always good. Bobby was always a great guy. Jack, a little bit about Bobby Eaton.
Bobby started 1976, I believe, May of 1976. He told me many times it's all he ever wanted. All he ever wanted was to be a professional wrestler. I was talking to his sister yesterday, and she was reminiscing about how Bobby would call her from school and say, hey, it's Friday, come check me out early so I can get over there and help set the ring up. So Bobby had a deep, long love for professional wrestling. And I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of nice guys in the industry. There really are. None nicer than Bobby was, though. None universally respected. I've know a lot of people, we all do. We've never met anybody that, has a bad word to say about Bobby. And in our industry, that is phenomenal. It really is.
I know we were, Bobby Eaton would always call, and I won't say exactly the words, but Dad was the big crap disturber. We were always the little crap disturbers. Because every time they would
pride. Yes, it was very pride.
We would many times he'd ask us where, especially spot shows, where the dressing rooms were, and so many times we sent him all the way around, and he was actually right there at the dressing rooms, but we would send him all the way around to the whole side of the building, and he would come back and say,
well, I'm not going to keep him waiting. I'm going to bring him on anyway. There's Les Thatcher. Brought him up. Welcome, Les.
Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing?
And now we've got Mr. Hutto also. Arvo Hutto.
Maybe.
We hear you.
You've got a little bit of we're hearing an echo, but
yes.
Try that. Is that any better?
Yes, that sounds great. Let's start, Les. Let's start with you first. Let's start with you first. Your time with Bobby Eaton. Give us your thoughts of Bobby.
What a talent! I'm sure everybody said the same thing. You watch him and you look for flaws and you don't see any. I mean, he's almost perfect. So smooth. I read one of the things that Dutch had said, that he'd asked Bobby, how long have you been working? And Bobby said, oh, I think about 2 months. And Dutch said he looked like he'd been working 5 years. And I don't know the first time I saw him, how long he'd been working, but I was, going to check this kid out. I'd heard about him. And I thought, wow, I got mesmerized. I thought, damn, he is smooth, right? And such I'll tell you a guy, he reminds me a little bit with personality. It was my tag team partner, Roger Kirby. So laid back, right? And so reserved. Well, I was telling somebody the other day, we were doing a 2-day camp in Spindale, North Carolina. It's been a few years ago. And the Midnight Express and Jimmy had been on the show the night before on Saturday night. And before they left on Sunday, they came in to watch us train. And I don't remember what we were doing, but Bobby came up behind me and whispered in my ear and said, if you tell the kid, maybe if he should have done this in a particular way. And I said, Bobby, you tell him, they'd love to hear it from you. No less you tell him. He would, but that was Bobby, but like, I heard Jack, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him. I guess we can always, of course, I think for Jack and I, it's too late. We got such history behind us. We never wiped that out, could you, Jack?
Yeah. And really don't apologize for much of it. So.
I've got some programs here that has Bobby in it. Here's one, and I actually was here at this show, December 1st, 1979. I truly believe this was really Wrestling 1 and 2. At least it was Wrestling 2. It could have been Wrestling 3 at the end of this, but this is Nick Goulas. But this is Championship Wrestling, 8 p.m. You see, I wrote down the winners, but there you see Bobby Eaton and Tojo Yamamoto and this NWA Mid America Tag Team Championship match. And
yeah.
I don't think I won the lucky number program.
You didn't win the money.
I don't think I won. Well, I knew it wasn't money with Nick Goulas. It was no doubt that wasn't.
Everybody talks about Tojo training him, but a lot like Ricky Morton, early in his career, he had one of the best ever, Ken Lucas. He spent a lot of time with Kenny. So some of his tag team partner, but Kenny worked with him as well. And you can't spend time around Ken Lucas, take my word for it, without learning something from that guy. So that I think that was a huge help for Bobby as well. But that's the difference too about breaking in back then and breaking in now. You had so many great talents to work with, and today it's pretty much the guy across the ring from you. If you've got 3 years experience, you may have 2 years more than he does. So
this is true. Here is another one that I'm pretty sure I was at this one too. April 8th, 1979. We used to go with our grandmother here every
lumberjack bout.
Yeah, it was a lumberjack match. Chris Colt against Bobby Eaton, lumberjack match, main event, 1979. We were there.
I never met Colt, but I've heard so much about him. I'm sure that was a hell of a match.
And it was probably an experience for Bobby. He was a character.
Yes, he was.
Another one, and I'm pretty sure we were at this one too. Well, I know we were here because that's the reason I have the program. Here is. He is over there. The explosive tag rules. Falls count anywhere in the building. Tojo Yamamoto and Chris Cote against George Goulas and Bobby Eaton. And Butch Thornton went against Butch Thornton that night.
Oh, my God.
I don't know how that happened.
Poor Bobby. And Bobby, you know what? It was a learning experience being George Goulas's partner. That was a learning experience.
But Bobby Eaton made George Goulas look great.
Of course he did. I used to tease Dennis Hall because, we were partners for so many years. And I know how he was if you screwed up something, right? He was intense. I said, tell me the truth now. How many Valium do you take before you go to the ring as George's partner every night, right? To get through this. Seriously. Because, he had to be even tempered with George or he'd have never lasted. He'd had a nervous breakdown.
By the way, Richard Hood said they were the Jet Set, and they were the Jet Set. And people talk about George, but George was over to the wrestling fans in Chattanooga.
Oh yeah, I know.
He really was. I mean,
my grandmother for sure. She loved him.
But Now, I don't know. Les, did you know of anybody that ever played any of the and maybe Jack, maybe Bobby talked about this. Did he ever talk about playing any of the basketball games?
No.
You know, I mean, George had the basketball games before the
Oh,
match.
yes, of course. Sure.
I did ask him about that, and he said, yeah, that was not a well thought out strategy for drawing for wrestling.
Here's a photograph of him here, 1979. Bobby Eaton, and I guess he was going against maybe working against Don Fargo during this.
That was a learning experience. Oh, seriously. That's one of the greatest heels I ever locked up with in my life. Donnie was an amazing worker. He was. Go ahead.
When you think about Bobby starting in 1976, he was really main eventing for George Goulas by 1978, 1979. This is a lot about Bobby Eaton.
Yes.
And how good he was.
Exactly.
Here he is right here. He's the Mid-America heavyweight champion.
Zoom in.
Mid-America
That was
heavyweight
quite
champion.
a cool, and they had quite a crew then. Bobby Eaton, they had Hayes and Gordy, Gypsy Joe. Really good.
I believe Tom Ernesta was booking at this time for Nick.
And I loved.
What year was that?
1979.
Harry was very when he was starting out. Harry was very different with Bobby than he was with any of the other wrestlers, especially the heels on the show. He was very different with him. He kept asking Bobby, "Why are you doing that? You're better than this." He always still liked him, even though he was doing some dirty stuff, some nasty stuff. And it was a different dynamic than he had done with any of the other wrestlers throughout the years. Even that last show with Harry. The last show with Harry was his retirement, was still saying, "Why are you still associated with Tojo? Why are you still doing this?"
Now, Les, you came down when Harry got sick, I guess, and you did a lot of the shows for Nick Goulas at that.
I only did one Saturday. Harry was sick. Yeah, just the one.
I remember that.
Well, I remember you doing it. And I've got to know
that one show. Schultz and Condry was with you on that one, I believe.
I don't remember who all was on the. Bobby might have been on the card.
I know. At this point, our father was working in Atlanta, but he was able to go on Wednesdays and book for a while for Nick Goulas, and this would have been about the time that he did it. Well, I don't think the Freebirds was there, but here's Bobby Eaton again, an American champion. That young Bobby Eaton there.
You know what, though? He never really aged. I mean, you couldn't. I mean, there's some guys that I haven't seen in years that could pass on the street and may not recognize him. But Bobby was Bobby, right? He got older, but he never changed.
Here is him with the George Goulas as the tag team champion there. Well, he held both the titles then. He was the Mid-America champion and tag team champion at that point in time. Then there's another photograph of him. I guess he's with the Mid-America title. I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
We went a lot. We got to see Bobby a lot in 1970.
And all the times we saw him, I think I remember more fondly what we've just seen here. His beginning years, more so than any others, because he shined and really outshined everybody else when you watch that show.
Yeah.
You automatically saw him. And I think that there was no improvement over the years from Bobby because Bobby was good right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Well, Meltzer said Bobby was doing this style before this style was a style. And I said, yeah, but he wasn't doing everything 50 times in the same match. He was doing it in moderation, right?
Yes. Yeah, because he would come off the top rope back when people would, and all the way from he would come right to the other side of the ring sometimes. back in the day. Then Coco Ware, when he teamed with Coco Ware, they kind of did the same thing together when he went to Memphis. When he left Georgia and went to Memphis, which Georgia never used him right. Really, Ole never used Bobby Eaton the way he should. Dennis Condrey either for that deal. But Bobby was over while he was there. He had great matches with Tommy Rich. He had great matches in the Omni with Jody Hamilton. He had a match with him in the Omni one night. That
you stop and think about it as a promoter or booker. If I had 25 Bobby Eatons, we had nothing to worry about, right? You'd sleep every night. You knew you went to work. Here's your finish. Okay. Right. Nobody's giving you a problem at all. But yeah, I mean, everybody says that, but you have to be around him. I said what little I wrote on Facebook. I said his nickname was what he had in his soul. He was beautiful inside. He could have been a preacher, for God's sake. I mean, seriously, I'm not making fun, but he was just that. What, terrestrial? Would that be the word I'm looking for? Well,
yeah.
The thing about him as well, he never, no matter what success he had, he was still the same Bobby Eaton that we met in 1980. Years later, he was still the same Bobby Eaton. He didn't let it get to his head, and which a lot of the wrestlers of the 90s did let everything get to their head, but Bobby Eaton never did. And
that surprise party they had for him here in Knoxville back in 2019, the first year I moved here. Rico came up, and I mean, a bunch of guys, came from around. He didn't know anything about it. He thought he was coming to do an interview at Doc Tom's gym. And actually, all these guys are there with a cake, and they had matches that night, and we all, got to say something. But through the whole thing, it was like, wow, what's going on? It's just okay. It's just, I mean, I thought, again, sort of like Roger Kirby. You could have slapped him in the face, you'd have figured he wouldn't have registered, right? But it was, I mean, a lot of people, oh, wow, oh, man, I'm so excited or surprised. Well, that's great,
Let's see if we can get Arvin back on. He is back with us now. Bobby Eaton, first tag team partner. And let's see if we can get him back on, and he's outside right now, so maybe he'll come in. Tell us a little bit about Bobby. You knew him from the beginning there.
I had to get out here where I could.
We lost him again, didn't we?
Oh, no, he's talking.
Well,
all right, go ahead.
Me and Bobby started back a long time ago.
Oh, no.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming and going, but.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, he's coming and going.
Well, I promise I'm sitting still.
It must be us coming and going.
Yeah, we're only
more than coming.
Well, you're now you maybe you will, or you're now in there because you've got a good 10 out of 10. So let's try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're still having technical difficulties. You're not coming in. I think he's freezing up, I believe is what's happening to him. But we'll keep him there just in case he can just throw in out at one time, come in and make the save for all of this as we were talking about Bobby. Jack, you talked to Bobby about his career. And tell me tell everyone what he said to you when you asked him about his career.
Well, we would talk about, some of the things he had done, all the titles he had held, and Bobby's response was always, man, he said, I'm not anything. He said, I'm just little old Bobby Eaton from Huntsville, Alabama. He said, I just got to live a dream. And he said, and I'm still living it. You know, no ego whatsoever with Bobby.
And I always would say, oh, that was a long time ago.
Yep.
Yep. All right, let's see if he's back with us, and we don't miss half of what he says. Let's tell us a little bit about Bobby again, and maybe we won't lose you again.
Okay, well, I'm going to try. Me and Bobby started back probably in the mid-70s, I guess it was. He came in, helped put the ring up, and we just got in there and worked out every weekend. If we see something on the show that night, Friday night, next Friday, we'll come and we'll try it. You know, me and Bobby trained ourselves to get in. Didn't nobody help us until we got to the point where Saul Weindroff, you know, him and Luther and all of them took off with UW against Nick. They were in Davis Hotel. I knew from in the days, I used to sell for Saul's pictures and everything. So I called him up. He could read and told him who I was. He remembered. So he gave us the opportunity to come up to talk to him. We did. He said, be in Columbia, Tennessee, Saturday night. Granted, we just got our stuff in shortly before we went. And we went up there, didn't know a thing about wrestling. Me and Bobby like killed each other. We went through the bleachers, we went through the cheer, everything. Didn't nobody tell us, hey, hold back. Bobby is a great guy. They put me as can't believe it, they put me as babyface, they put him as heel. Next week it was right reverse. Oh, but Bobby loved heel. He can heel. We worked together under the hood, and of course with Nick, and Bobby would do anything we wanted to. I said, Bobby, let's try this. Okay, and then he come up, let's try this. Okay, we worked. You know, we weren't so bad. Just getting it. We didn't care what the pay was or if there was any pay. Me and Bobby just loved the business. And we started from there, got hooked up with Nick. And Bobby went on, and I had to get out. My son was a year old. He didn't know me. So I had to back out and just do part-time. But Bobby went on, thank goodness, because he's one of the best guys I ever seen. And he's the best friend you could ever have, too.
Well, that's great. Well, Bobby was he was indeed a great person. Nobody can say nothing bad about him. You know, he's about like Brad Armstrong. You just couldn't say nothing about Bobby. Any other stories that you want to tell us before?
Well, when we first started, tell you some stories. Before we got in with Nick, we was wrestling Corn Smith for. This is how bad it was, how bad we had it. I got that day, that Friday, we're supposed to be in Corinth. Bobby went with me on my honeymoon. We stayed in a hotel. Bobby was still he stayed 2 doors down from me and my wife. And he came down with a bucket of chicken. He said, y'all come down to my house. I got supper. Bobby was a good one. And, you know, if he's here today, he'd probably tell you a whole lot more than I could because I done forgot everything. I don't know because I've been hit so much or what. I just can't remember a whole lot. But we lost a great one.
Yes, we did. No doubt. All right, so let's see what some of the insiders have got to say, and let's see. Good evening, gentlemen. Richard Hood, Jason. Well, if I can If I can hit the buttons. Jason Bateman, hi everyone, blessings. Rest in peace, Bobby Eaton from James William Lawrence III. Jason Mundy, rest in peace, Bobby, an all-time great, a true gentleman and a great wrestler. Lane Crooks, rest in peace, Bobby. Chaplain Freddie Rooster Roper. I always get his that name is so difficult. It's not difficult, but man, you say it all together, you could say something wrong. Hey guys, man, I just can't wrap my head around this one. I can't believe he's gone. Rest in peace, brother. Richard Hood, the Alabama Jam was awesome. Yes, that was. We were in. I got to tell this story. We were in Birmingham. And was it during the Terry Gordy Memorial Show?
It was.
So Bobby, we gave Bobby the finish, and we told him he's going to do the Alabama thing on. And I think Mike Mitchell was the referee, and he kind of turned on that night, and he gave him the Alabama Jam. So he was walking back to the dressing room, and Rodney met him about halfway and said, "Go back and do it again." He said, "What?" Now, yeah, go back and do it again. He goes back and gives him the Alabama Jam again, and he goes to leave again. He says, "Go back in there and give it to him again." Well, we're all out there by that time. Dad's out there. Because he's trying to get him away, and he's going to throw us all in the ring and give us all the Alabama Jam. We run from him, but he didn't have a problem with it at all. He went back in. He done it to, he's probably thinking, man, that one time that was off, but man, they're making me do this 3 times.
Well, the crowd got bigger and bigger and bigger every time he did it. It was great.
Yeah, it was. Kevin Penley, I remember seeing Bobby as a babyface against Randy Savage and Gordy. Hayes, I met him briefly once in Boutwell. Well, we won't hold that against you that you met Michael Hayes. Jack, you look old.
I am.
That's just mean right there.
That's not nice. Just tell it's the camera, isn't it, Jack?
No, I'm old.
Oh.
Glenn Allen Shelton, rest in peace. Bobby, Doug Masters. You know Doug Masters, Les?
Doug Masters, sure.
He has a podcast as well.
Is he still living in California?
I believe he is, isn't he, Jack?
I think I'm not 100% sure on that.
That's the last place I saw him.
Bob Welch. Hello, guys. Rest in peace, Bobby Eaton. Larry. I don't know. Is he going to say something mean again? I missed.
No, he's fine.
I didn't know he was going to say something mean again.
That's my buddy.
Yeah. James M. Martin. Hey, all. And he says Bobby was awesome. And I think we all can agree with that Bobby was awesome. Kevin Penley, I remember the Jet Set, but not the Brown Bombers. You should have on somebody. Well, he's right there with us.
Okay, well, let's ask him about the Brown Bombers and see if it's what I think it is. Okay, so Arvil, tell us about if you remember, the Brown Bombers. Tell us about that. Oh, he's froze up.
Yeah, he's showing that he's not strong.
Oh, we're sorry about that. Well, maybe you can tell us a story about the Brown Bombers. That would be awesome.
I'll look for it and see. Yes, we want to hear about that. Joel Bateman said, "Bobby Eaton, you will never be forgotten." And we forget to talk about this, but Bobby had no problem doing the any of the scaffold matches that he did. I wouldn't have done them. I think I would have my notice. No, it's all right. I think I'll go ahead and pass before I do those. Les, did you ever see any of the scaffold matches he did?
Just on tape. I never saw any of them live.
We got to see them live in Mid-South Wrestling while they were here. Now, our father did not like the scaffold matches. He said, if you want to kill your territory, have a scaffold match.
I don't blame him. And I wouldn't have done one either. I don't jump off a 10-foot diving board into a swimming pool. Never mind.
30 feet in the air. And they just kept on making it higher I figured it was going to be off a plane at some point if we kept on going. But he did so good because he'd take the bump. I mean, he didn't seem to care to take that bump. So
I keep mentioning the Alabama Jam. I was worried about his spine and tailbone because of that.
Yeah.
Because that's taking the brunt of the drop. It has to. Otherwise, he's going to kill somebody with that leg.
Yep.
all right, he is back. He's not got a 10 out of 10 yet, so we'll wait until see if we can. Can you tell us about the Brown Bombers? Because you're at the high strength now.
Maybe not. Oh, there he goes.
Well, no, he died again. He must live out in the country.
He's moving. Yeah.
There he is. He's back now.
Are you there?
I'm gonna tell you what, we're getting a lot of snapshots.
Good. The Brown Bombers came about. Guess who? George. George came with the Brown Bombers.
Now was that an extension of himself?
I have to ask this question while he's here. Did you play any of the basketball game? We still lost.
But we got you. So how come the Brown Bombers, not the Blue Bombers?
The Super Bowl.
The Super. Why brown? The colors. Because they're an old joke my dad used to tell. I'm sure Les said it many times himself about tied down brown tights. I'm just how come you in it with the brown Bombers?
I played one time.
You did it one time.
And that was
oh.
We're just gonna have to. Where does he live at?
Huntsville.
We just need to go to Huntsville and hook up with him because he could tell us some great stories.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Well, I'll see him Saturday.
Well, you need to do an interview with him and get all this information, and that way we'll put it on the show.
That'll be great. That'll be great. I just kind of wonder why the Brown Bombers more so than blue or red or any other bomber.
Does anybody know what the Brown Bomber is? I'm at a loss.
That was Arville and Bobby Eaton were a tag team called the Brown Bombers.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as I heard Brown Bombers, that's the only thing I could think of is Dad telling somebody that's, you know what you could do for a good gimmick. You can go out there and get you some tights and tie-dye them brown, and then you can go as the total. Dad would say, we'll say crap, but he would call them something else. You heard that before, Les, haven't you?
Yes.
That's when I heard Brown Bombers. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Well, I was wondering if that's what you were talking about, but I wasn't going to say that.
But Bobby wouldn't care. He would be out there, brown, but whatever you want me to do, it don't make any difference to me.
Let's see. Afternoon, guys, from Paul Hatchett. Kevin said he was late, and you will be getting the Bill Watts fine, and you can pay Jack for that, Kevin, for being late. That'll be a $50 fine, and you can get in touch with Jack on that one. Rick Brooks is with us. Matthew had pleasure of wrestling a couple shows with Bobby at Laura's South Carolina Fairgrounds for SCW. Great guy, so laid back, good old Alabama country boy. Yeah, he was, and always it was.
He tried to get us in trouble all the time.
Yes, he did.
He did. We went to B's and he kept pinching me. And he said, "Is there something wrong with your seat?" I said, what do you mean? What's wrong? With something wrong with my seat? And I'd sit there for a minute and he'd do it again. He said, Ronnie, he's bothering me. He just keep on. I was probably 12, I guess. I guess that's about 12.
When
He's
came
bothering
to
me.
Atlanta, the whole time he was there, he made trips, and we would always make the TV on a Saturday morning, and then we'd go to at some point Columbus TV was being done. I don't know if they had stopped doing that at that
Not
time.
yet.
But I think we do the Columbus TV, and then Dad would go on to Carrollton or Griffin, one of those two towns. But I don't think Chattanooga sometimes, I guess it was running at that point. So they might have been running Chattanooga or Carrollton.
That was probably later because by the time he came back when the Freebirds and Robert Fuller were there. So it was probably right about that time.
Oh, and to answer the last guy's little statement there, the beauty of social media is that you don't have to be friends with dumbasses. So there you go.
Speaking of dumbasses, this dumbass is going to get off here and give some other guys some room to get on here. But I want to come on and say, hey, we've lost two great performers, man, and two real gentlemen. No doubt about that too. So
you got to work with Jody, didn't you, Les?
Oh yeah, 1963. He and Tom. Yeah, I learned a lot from those guys. And then I worked with Joe here. And then they were in Phoenix in 66 when I was out there for a while, based out of Phoenix territory. I'm trying to think play. That was all, I guess. But yeah, well, then when I was under contract at WCW as a trainer, he and I, connected then. But I mean, we weren't around each other a lot. Yeah, but
just real quick, Les, before you go, when Jody and Tom were a team, did both of them talk at this? Did both of them do the interview, or did just one?
They both talked.
That had to be
Tom maybe more than Joe. But I'll tell you the thing that when I first met them in 63, I just 3 years in the business at that point. And of course, you're still trying to learn. And excuse me, I was used to heels screaming and saying, you idiots, you trailer park idiots, that sort of thing, right? That's what a heel was. And these guys are talking very intelligently, and they'll use a large $25 word, and they'll stop and say, and for you people that aren't educated enough to understand what I just said, that word means, and then they're right back, right? And they've insulted them more. Yeah. And the people, well, wait a minute. That guy just talking down to me, right? But seriously. And they wrestled more, it wasn't just, meat chopping, punching and kicking. They wrestled. Awesome. So it was they were heels, but people had to kind of sit back and figure out they weren't the average kind of heels, right? Great performers. And Joe had a good fertile mind. He, helped book here in Knoxville while he was here too. Yeah. So awesome. Great guys, both of them, man. And I'm sure, you guys will start. Well, Jack's feeling that pressure from but from my generation, I think I'm running out of tears, guys. I mean,
right.
It's getting to be a weekly occurrence, And God bless them all. Believe me, that big ring in the sky has got a hell of a card. That's all I can say. This stack. Guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And always a pleasure. Take care. God bless y'all.
Thank you, Les. All right. Now, let's see if you're there and you can tell us a little bit about the Brown Bombers. And you said you only did that one time?
Well, we've done it a few times. Me and Bobby came up with a deal. We're going to go as the Mighty Southerners. That's why the Brown came involved. And yellow, brown and yellow. And of course, it got changed when we told them what we had. George changed it to the Brown Bombers. That's the Brown Bombers.
So it was what I thought it was.
Yeah. Yes. George changed it to the Brown Bombers.
Oh, poor old. Now was George taking care of finishes and stuff at that point in time?
No, Tom Ernesto was there,
Okay.
senior, and Tom was a good guy. I really liked Tom. He really helped us out as much as he could, and he was a fair guy. And if you do something wrong, he'll let you know.
Now, when you started working for Nick Goulas, was you still working for some of the other what we called outlaw promotions at the time?
No, when I went with Nick, then I just stayed with Nick. I didn't want to get no heat. I was young coming into it, didn't know what to do except, hey, I'm going to stay with Nick. Now, occasionally when he didn't have me booked, I would go some of these shows, work under a hood. I was working the Executioner. Me and Joey Rossi, we worked in Selma, Tennessee one time. And I was the Executioner. Of course, they was looking for Curtis Smithy. Smithy done that. But we went down there, and boy, that was a hot town, too. And I'm talking about heat. It was hot in that building. No air conditioning. Me and Joey completed. We went 44 minutes.
My goodness.
Under a hood, that was terrible. I took the hood off, my boots off, and just laid in the shower. That's when I got done.
Well, it's good that it had a shower in it because it could have been.
Could have been just a water hose in the back.
Well, some of these places we use a cup of water. But no, the Brown Bombers came about like that. We worked a few times, and we done pretty good. It just, Bobby got with George then and with the jet set. So, hey, I'm just around for the ride then.
Now, did you? I think you probably was. I had a lot of these cards here, and I didn't. But when you saw Bobby get the push that he was getting, because he was getting to the main event status. I mean, he was main eventing against Chris Colt and with Tojo and all that. What did you think of Bobby at that point in time?
Oh, I thought highly of Bobby even then. Bobby, when he got up there at level, he stayed at the level where we always been as friends. He was just humble, and I didn't. I wish he got the biggest push a long time ago.
He was so good though.
Oh,
he
yeah,
was so good.
Yeah, you would have seen us working out. we actually, like I say, before we got in it, we didn't know a thing. And we almost killed each other, but we loved it. We worked.
So y'all didn't have anybody train you, basically. You were just okay. Did you and Bobby tell people, listen, yeah, we know what we're doing?
No. I just, when I talked to Saul, I told him, I said, Saul, man, a guy, we set the ring up, we're going out, we work, do this, that, and other. Of course, Saul took us because he's just getting started against Nick, him and Lou with that UWA. So they asking for people to come and work. So me and Bob said, hey, here's that chance. So we went to Columbia, Tennessee that following Saturday night, and it went from there.
Now, they didn't stay in business a long period of time, did they?
No, they sure didn't. Matter of fact, I think it all went over to, we just worked with LeVon Stone out of Corinth, Mississippi, and done some outlaw towns and other places until we started with Nick. I started first with Nick. I believe it was in the spring of '77. And Bobby came in shortly after that. And Bobby came in Birmingham, Alabama. Bobby D and him went down there, and I was booked in another town that night. And Bobby took Bobby Eaton down there with him, and somebody didn't show up. So that's how Bobby got started with Nick.
Wow.
Bobby
always bring your stuff. That's the thing that's always been told. Always bring your bag. You never know when somebody's not going to show up.
We had them with us every time because that's all we loved doing was wrestle. And Bobby took off with it, and like I say, the rest of it just history. I was wanting to do a little bit more, but Nick don't pay good. but now, in all fairness, I guess I was on the good side. Me and Bobby both was with Nick. He was a good guy to us, you know. But I can see how he went too, you know, with other people.
So
But you know, hey, people know how he is. Why did they come work for him if they're gonna fuss about it?
sure.
There you go.
And how old were you and Bobby at that time, you think?
I started, I want to say probably when I was 19 and Bobby had to have been 17 when we actually got into the business in 76.
Wow.
I figured it had to be.
We worked,
Had to be.
and I had another partner, another guy was working with me on the ring before Bobby. And of course, he didn't pan out, but me and him would do some of the shows, you know, just expedition show. You know, he let us get in that work for a little bit, and then he quit, and then that's when Bobby came in. We put the ring up. We went everywhere. Wherever that ring went, we was with him, no matter what.
Now, was Bobby D the one that was taking the ring at the time?
Yeah. Yes. And, you know, here's the thing about it. Bobby D, he pushed us after we got into the business to Nick, which I'm glad he did, you know, but Bobby was a swell guy. Him and a few others around this area was the best referees in the business because they took care of the business.
Yeah. I always like Bobby D.
Yeah, Bobby D was a good one. You could, you know, I seen an old film a while ago, the other day about Al Green and Jackie Fargo, that hair match. Bobby D refereed that one.
Yeah, here is a picture actually of Nick Goulas and Bobby D's son.
Yes, yeah.
Chase in the Slamagram program done by Scott Teal.
Yes. But yeah, and that's when we all got started. We tagged together. You know, our debut was in Huntsville in August of '77, I believe it was, and I stayed in as long as I could. But like I say, I didn't get to push, and probably my fault too, because I didn't go out and work harder enough to push on. I worked Randy Savage and all of them, and Randy took care of me. Randy was a swell guy too.
We've lost a lot of them.
Yeah. And I tell you another was Whipper Collins.
Yep.
Whipper Watson. They all Big Luke, Crazy Luke Graham. You know, a lot of people know that I'm goosey. Okay, you poke me, you better watch. A lot of guys in business didn't know it, but Bobby D did. So I was working Bulldog Don Kent in Huntsville. He had me in a headlock, and all of a sudden I heard Bobby say, "You ready? You got him?" I said, "Man, what are they doing?" Don said, "Yeah, I got him." Bobby goosed me. He didn't have me no more. He laughed, but hey, that was a good time. We got in at a good time, at a great time to get into business and to see what we've seen and done what we done. We got in when the guy cares about the business.
Yeah.
You know, you put the fan in front of you. You get them involved with the matches. These guys now, they just want, and I'm not knocking them, but all they can do is just flip, punch.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about wrestling anymore, getting the fans involved in it.
Yeah.
But now Jack and old Mike, they were doing real good down in Arab, Alabama. That was close to, I guess you can get back to the old style as you can get nowadays.
Matter of fact, I think they're there this Saturday, aren't you?
This Saturday, yeah, we're going to have a special tribute for Bobby this Saturday night.
So if you're in the in Arab, Alabama, or just in the area, drive there and get there and show your respects to Bobby Eaton. This
Arville's going to be there. Bobby's sister's coming. A few other of his family members, I think, is going to be there as well.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, I could think of some stories to tell about Bobby, me and him on the road, but you know, I'm sure you ain't got a lot of time. Maybe some other time we can do it.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely want Jack to get with you a little bit and just tell a couple of them stories so we can put them on there and because we enjoy talking to you. We watched you wrestle as well in Chattanooga because we went a lot. All these programs we actually went every week. My grandmother even though our father was working for Georgia Championship Wrestling, Nick Gulas would call and he would say, hey, does the boys want to come to the matches? And he said, well, yeah, they're coming. They're coming with their grandmother because she always had seats for there. And we went almost every Saturday that we wasn't with our father somewhere in TV and stuff. But always went and saw you wrestle several times there. So.
Before Arvil leaves, I'll give y'all a quick Arvil story. And he was on some of the first shows I was ever on in Gunnersville, Alabama. And somebody set me up to do this about the goose in him because I didn't know. But they told me to go out there when he's going to the ring. Well, what I guess they didn't think about was the manager, Mr. Hyde, was leading the way. And here comes Arvil. And I just stuck my hand right outside the dressing room and I goosed Arvil. And the next thing I know, he hit Mr. Hyde right in the back of the head, hard as he could.
Stories like that, I wish I could remember more, but like I said, I don't know what it is. Bob probably can tell you a lot more about me and him than I could in the shape he was in. But it was great, the ride that we had, and I think I mentioned somebody. I said when we got into business, shortly after we got in, we went our separate ways. I got out because my young one was 1 year old and didn't know me. So I just done it on the weekend. And Bobby went on. And then when we got out, I quit working 2 years ago. And when we got out, me and Bobby got back together when he got out. So I cherished every moment I had with him.
Yeah, he was a tremendous person. And there's no doubt about that. All right, let's get back to Richard Hood talked about the Jet Set, and we talked about them. He ends up with George Gulas, and that what year would that have been that he started teaming with George?
That would have had to be in 77 because I quit in 78 as far as full time.
So he was with George for many years then.
Yeah. He was with probably about a little over a year.
Wow.
Because when I got out, that's when Bobby, I think they went to Memphis, I believe, and then he went down to Georgia, and I kind of lost track of Bobby. He'll call him when Mama passed away. He did call me, and we just lost track of each other. Life happens.
Yeah, and he was staying busy, especially when he went to Louisiana, South Wrestling. There was no time. You stayed in the car the whole time. James Martin said, I was lucky enough to, I think he said, meet Bobby and Matt, a lot of wrestlers back down when I used to live very close to Hampton Coliseum, Norfolk Scope, in Richmond Coliseum. So I was able to meet a lot of wrestlers, and most of them were awesome. God bless the old wrestlers. Bobby Eaton was over as a heel. Yes, he was. And that's the thing. Now, he turns on George Gulas at some point.
Yeah.
And starts teaming with Tojo Yamamoto. Now, and this would have been sometime in around 79. I just remembered him doing that, and it was a major angle, and it did very well in Chattanooga.
And he had great matches with Dutch Mantell.
Oh, Lord.
Awesome matches with Dutch Mantell.
Yeah.
Rick Brooks. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Dutch. He was in a boxing match in Huntsville that night, and I was second in Dutch. Got out there, had his boxing gloves on, and Dutch is blind, right?
That's right.
I got up there after the first round. He said, "Tell me where I'm at." In the corner. Yeah, but which corner? Dutch was a good guy. I worked against him and worked with him, and all them guys back then was great. I just wish I could have, got to meet other guys.
Yeah, Dutch was a character. No doubt about it.
He is a character.
He is a character. He was going to come on here, but I guess he wasn't able to get on because it is sometimes it's hard.
Arnold knows all about how hard it is to get on.
Yeah. Country. It's outside of Huntsville, about 16 miles.
Well, it's coming in good now, though. So
Doing
wherever
good
you're
now.
at, you're getting a good sale right now. So first saw Chris Kelton, 68, working for the Sheik as one of the Hell's Angels. What nationality was Gypsy Joe? I'll let you ask at what nationality was Gypsy Joe?
He was Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. All right. Carl Smith, rest in peace, Bobby. Mickey Mayfield, Bobby Eaton will always be the greatest worker in pro wrestling. He made all his opponents look good. I'm going to ask Rodney this question because he said most of the time we were doing a top 100 series, and I think we were at 89. And Rodney, when we asked him if so-and-so was on the list, he always said these words. He may or may not be on the list. We're going to ask him tonight, Bobby Eaton, on your top 100 list?
I normally do not divulge these things, but yes, he is. He is number 9 out of 100.
And deserves to be in that spot. If anyone has ever seen Bobby Eaton wrestle, he was smooth in the ring. And
I know we've been focusing on his initial years because not a lot of people saw him in those days. And you didn't see him in those days, you missed some awesome stuff. There wasn't another person that he was a part of a group. He was by himself. He was a single wrestler and a single draw, as we saw in the programs. And this is where he shined. This is where for whatever reason, this nonsense that was said that Bobby Eaton couldn't do an interview was absolute a lie, just a plain out lie. He could do a fabulous interview. And he did so in Memphis. All you have to do is just look it up. He did in Memphis. Jarrett used him extremely well there. And then, of course, later on, Bill Dundee would pick him as part of his team to go over to Mid-South, putting him with Dennis Condrey and Jim Cornette. And, the rest is history. Midnight Express will be one of those teams that live forever because they were that good. Not sure how it would be without Bobby Eaton. I don't think it would have been as successful because Bobby was, like we said, a shining star. And you put him with Dennis Condrey, unstoppable. And I'm sorry for those who think that maybe Bobby and Stan were the better team. Simply were not. They simply were not. Dennis and Bobby set the standard that Stan wished he could live up to. It's not that I dislike Stan.
Send all cards and letters directly to Rodney West.
I'm just telling the truth. When you look at it, you look at the body of work between Dennis and Bobby, and all you have to do is watch a match with Dennis and Bobby's from Houston against the Rock and Roll Express, Robert and Ricky. That just tells you all you need to know in that match. You can watch Dennis and Bobby against 2 and Magnum TA. They tear the place down.
Well, I said last night, Bobby made the statement that with Dennis, he felt like they were the better wrestling team, and he loved being with Dennis. He said, but he enjoyed with the other guy.
Well,
because he was more of a showman, and Bobby said, I had to become a better showman because of him.
And see, and that shows right there that Bobby Eaton was nicer than I am.
Yep.
Bobby Eaton was, you could not, the one good thing, and you know this to be true, it was very hard to rattle Bobby Eaton.
No, but he could rattle me every time, trying to get us in trouble. I will never forget that. And we repaid the favor every time we got a chance, sending him on a wild goose chase all over the place, trying to find the dressing room. He said, you go down here, go all the way around. He said, and then they came back to us because they found the dressing room, so they're going to go back and get something at the store and come back. He said, why didn't you just tell us the dressing room is there? Yeah, let's sit all over this place trying to find that dressing room. I said, it's what we do. And we
told him it had nothing to do with him or Dennis. We was just trying to get Jim Cornette stabbed or something.
Riled up. Riled up. Get him all riled up. And we love Cornette. Cornette was always a good guy.
He was.
We hung out with him when he came to Georgia. did the Georgia Champion Wrestling Superstars, and still to this day, I have nothing bad to say about Cornette.
James Martin, I used to love watching the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express. Tremendous matches. And if you haven't seen the Midnight Express, go against the Fantastics. They even had better matches. I mean, those matches were tremendous.
The first Clash of Champions, I think it's the second match on the card. Probably one of the best tag team matches I have ever seen in my life. Fantastic against Midnight Express.
Yes. Yeah. And think about it is that there's so many matches that are not on film that nobody ever saw that were classics. Absolute fantastic. We never saw, I don't think I can ever say that Bobby Eaton was in a bad match. Ever. Same thing with Dennis Condrey. I've never seen him in a bad match, ever.
No, Bobby always had great matches. Didn't matter. Didn't matter where he was at. Didn't matter how many people was in the building.
Nope. It's 100% all the time.
Or 10,000, he had the same kind of match. That was just the way Bobby was. Let's see. They used to have some awesome matches. Yes, they did. Richard Hood said he would almost hit the lights in the TBS studios before doing the Alabama Jam.
That's right.
Let me ask you: did Bobby do stuff like that? Did he try to do things? Because I know back in the day they get onto you, but did Bobby try to do top rope stuff at the beginning of his career?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I was going to say him and Gypsy Joe, when they had a beef going on program, they would try to throw each other up who can hit the light. And Bobby done it in Huntsville.
Wow.
But man, they just try to, even Joe done it, Joe tried to get up there and get it, but Bobby did hit the square lights in the center of the ring in Huntsville.
I think Bobby Eaton, as far as I'm watching people in wrestling, I think the highest back body drops was Bobby Eaton.
Yeah,
I ever saw.
Unbelievable.
And I think the first hip toss Bill on the floor I ever saw was Dutch Mantel and Bobby Eaton.
Yeah,
unbelievable. If we could take and clone Bobby Eaton and Ricky Morton, there would be no need for anybody else to ever wrestle. I'm just here to tell you, and I'm not, and it's not a slight against you, Arvel. I'm just saying you could clone these two, and you wouldn't need anybody else. Just seriously.
Well, I agree 100% about in Ricky and Bobby. I thought the Midnight Express had a great matches with Morton and them.
Yeah, they were tremendous. Kevin Penley, in your top 50 tag teams, which set of Midnight do you put over the other one? I'm putting Dennis and Bobby on mine over top of Stan Lane. Not that I have a problem with Stan Lane like Rodney did, but I
can tell you those ridiculous karate chops and kicks, just right up there with the leg slaps for me.
Hey, are you seeing? Now, don't ever. I want to tell you this. Don't ever ask him about Terry Taylor, Arvel. Don't ever ask him about Terry.
Let me give you one more about Bobby doing crazy stuff. Within Huntsville, he was wrestling the Sheik, and that match get crazy. They had a scaffold set up to change some light bulbs in the Coliseum. Jack, you know how tall it is, right?
Yeah.
Sheik ran up the scaffold, and Bobby had to go with him. They were almost halfway or better up the scaffold fighting. And Bobby would do anything to make the match go.
Wow.
You know something about, if people talk about Gypsy Joe, not Gypsy Joe, Cactus Jack being the first person that would do stuff like that. But no, Bobby Eaton did that kind of stuff. He took the hip tosses. He took that kind of stuff. He would take the backdrops on the floor way before there was ever a Cactus Jack.
Oh, yeah.
And he was doing this in Chattanooga. Got to remember now, Chattanooga was a completely different kind of wrestling town than Atlanta, Georgia was. The people in Chattanooga wanted to see fighting and beating, and they didn't really want to see no wrestling in Chattanooga. They just want to see a fight. But he was doing that stuff way before. So there's not a uniqueness for somebody like Cactus Jack. It was being done before he did it. It just wasn't being done on a large scale, like it said.
Yeah.
He would only do it that one time, and he wouldn't do 42 spots where he got slammed into the floor.
Back in them days, we actually wrestled. You know, we didn't do all this high. I mean, yes, that's a high spot. You know, nowadays they call the whole matches in the dressing room. Yeah. But we actually go out there and work it as match goes, see how the people are reacting, and that's how you get your match. You go off the fans.
Exactly.
I couldn't remember any of that stuff anyway. You'd have told me about 15 minutes of that stuff. I go, what? And what did you tell me?
Hey, I see something else. Back in them days, we went 2 out of 3 falls.
Exactly.
I remember reading an interview with Roddy Piper where he said they were asking him if he caught a lot of stuff back in the back, and he said,
Yeah.
You got an opening, you got your heat spot, you got your go home. He said, if you needed more than that, you didn't belong in the ring.
Yeah. And that's like, you know, you call your matches in the dressing room, you go out there, what if it don't go over?
Exactly.
And they don't know how to recoup from it. If something happens, you'll mess up.
Yep.
And there again, I'm not talking bad about them. It's just 2 different styles of wrestling, you know, nowadays.
All right, let's get some people. We got a bunch of people we'll need
Let's
to
do it. Let's do it.
I saw Bobby when he started, and man, he was miles ahead of everyone. One would think
Right.
he rolled out of the bed and boom, he was that good. This is true. Mickey Mayfield also said, listen to Cornette's podcast about Bobby. It is heartbreaking. It is. If you have not listened to Jim Cornette's podcast, it is a great podcast about Bobby. Such a tribute to Bobby. So if you've not listened to it, get over there and do that. Dana Michael Butner, beautiful Bobby. Yes, James Martin is with us. Give us the big thumbs up. Let's see, Thomas Alexander. I watched some old Memphis program, and he was doing good on the interview there. Why didn't they let him do more talking than they let him do? He will be missed. I don't know that he wanted to do interviews once somebody else was around to do them, but he could do them.
Well, let's just be fair. I mean, when you had Jim Cornette, who was the best interviewer in the business,
yeah,
why would you want to chime in on that? You didn't have to.
No.
And his style was different than anybody else's. If you listen to his interview, his styles are different than what anybody else was doing at the time.
My favorite match was a scaffold match back in 1986, the Midnight Express versus the Road Warriors. Just awesome. Like I said, I would have done it.
There's one ticket sold. Just kidding.
Let me give you one story. We were cutting interviews in Nashville, Channel 5, and I think Bobby and Gypsy was at it. Maybe it was Randy. I can't remember which one it was. But we were cutting interviews, and it was a tape fist match for that night, or for that time, what show it was. And Bobby got talking, boy, he's going pretty good. And all of a sudden he said he had tape all the way down to his ankle. He said, I wrapped tape all the way around it down to my ankle. Of course, I didn't done another one. I tell you, you just can't make these up.
No.
That's good. Victor Nash. Hello, everyone. Rest in peace. Bobby Eaton. Stuart Kemp. Hello, missing. Hello, all missing. So many at this time. James Martin. Rest in peace, my old friend. Tony Sharp. Shope. I think it'd be Shope. One of the best flying leg drops in the industry. Made my back hurt every time he did it. That had to be hard on his spine. All those that he did throughout his career, and they looked tremendous. Like it killed the guy. Gary said, "Great show. Thank you so much." Let's see. I don't know what this infatuation with this Gilbert guy is. I don't know for sure what that is. let's see. James said that would be an awesome interview. I'm not for sure what we were talking about at that point. There's no doubt on what we were talking about. Victor Nash. What was that say?
What persona?
Oh, persona. Thank you. Do you guys think we're better, Beautiful Bobby Eaton or Earl Robert? And hey, it wasn't Earl. What do you think, Ervil? What do you think?
No, Earl wouldn't have been it.
Earl Robert Eaton. I did. They were good tag team. Him and
Steve Regal.
Steve Regal.
Yeah, Steve Regal.
But I didn't like him as a, I know it was a get to some heat, but it just didn't work for me. How about you, Jack?
Same way. I mean, I was happy to see Bobby in the ring. I don't care what gimmick it was. But as far as the gimmick, I didn't like it. And he confided in me that he didn't like it. That was his least favorite of anything he had ever done.
Yes, he mentioned to me about, he really didn't care for that gimmick they done, but he done it.
Now he loved tagging with William Regal.
Yes,
he really liked him. I think
that?
Dundee was their
I think we
valet
did call
or
him Steve Regal.
for a while.
That was me. I did that. Yeah.
Well, he was
right.
Steve Regal then.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? It was Steve Regal at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lord Stephen Regal. That's right.
Yep.
Excuse me. And Bill was Sir William.
Yes.
Looked like the penguin out there.
Hey, real quick, that James Martin comment, he said he talking about that interview, he's talking about the one with Arvil, if we can sit down this weekend and do something.
Yeah, that would be tremendous. You may not have time, but if you
we'll make time. We're going to be there all day. Me and Arvil's there early, and we watch people work.
You're good supervisors, I see.
We are.
I have people at my work that likes to watch me work too. I'm not going to talk about that though.
Let's see. Chris wants to know, would you ask, do you stay in touch with George Weingroff any?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I had the only time I see George at somebody's reunion we go to. Scott Till not doing his anymore, so I don't get to see him. But I am friends with Herbie, his brother on Facebook, and me and him stay in touch with each other.
Yeah.
And I asked him about George and all that. So I hadn't seen George in probably, I guess, 2 years since Scott hadn't had his reunion.
I wrestled George back in the 90s, the most physically fit guy I had ever been in the ring with. And he's still in fantastic shape.
Yes, he is.
Jeffrey wanted to ask you a question, by the way. He said, tell us about your early 80s and your heel run with the theme song, Everybody Wants You.
Gosh, first I got to remember it. Give me a little bit more details, and I probably can tell you. Was that when me and Johnny Bradshaw was teaming, or?
We'll have to ask Jeffrey about that.
Yeah.
Well, think about it, and you and Jack can answer that Jeffrey's question.
Well, I will do my best in the 80s. If I had a little bit more info on it, I probably could come up on it. But guys, I tell you, I just can't remember a lot of stuff unless we get talking about it.
Yeah, that was the same song that the Fabulous Ones used, wasn't it? Everybody Wants.
It was.
And I'm thinking that was when me and Johnny Bradshaw, Juicy Johnny, was teaming together.
Was y'all like the Fabulous Ones or something?
No, we just came up. Well, Bobby D's wife came up with a song, and she came up with a gimmick as far as the clothing and stuff. She made our jackets and everything when we was daggum, I can't even remember it now. We were working together. As a matter of fact, they had the same team in Memphis at the time, and we didn't know it until after the fact.
It said Bobby will be missed in wrestling. Dennis Mitchell. Mike Mason is with us. Mike says Bobby always impressed me in the ring, but even more outside the ring. He was a true professional. He made it cool to say thank you. I remember when he was in the hospital, he called me and asked me if I had that ugly, bald-headed man. Let me see if I can remember that because it's on down here. It won't let us do the whole that ugly bald-headed man had his number Jack. I said, no, I did. He said, well, thank you. So, that was the thing about Bobby Eaton. Every match he had, every time he worked for you, he'd always walk up to you, shake your hand, and say, thank you so much.
Yeah. Anybody. It didn't matter who it was. And, it came back to me now. I think the one he talked about is the Dream Machine.
Oh.
Me and Juicy Johnny was the Dream Machines around here, and we didn't realize they had a team up in Memphis. I'd show you how much we watch other shows.
Well, back then it was hard to watch the other shows. So, Shane said, I love to hear the stories. Victor Nash said, hey, Jack, how about a moment of silence with a 10-bell salute?
We'll be doing that Saturday. We've got a video tribute, and then we'll be doing a 10-bell.
So
he wants to do one now. You have the bell? He wants to do one now. So let's wait till the end of the program. You already want to do it now.
We'll do it
then. No, let's do it then. That'd be a good way to end the program.
Okay. Michael Barr, hello all. Michael Barr also said, rest in peace, Bobby Eaton. I cannot speak today. Can somebody read that, please?
Condolences to your family and friends.
Cricket Caldwell gave us a big heart sign for Bobby Eaton. Everything Rodney said, he gave a thumbs. I'm thinking about Stan Lane, maybe. I'm not for sure. I'm just thinking that's what we was talking about. Rest in peace, Bobby Eaton.
Well, no, I think he was talking about in the reason we were focused on the early years of Bobby Eaton. I think that's what I was talking about at the time when he posted that. And like I said, it really featured Bobby by himself the way he should have been later on. Once again, wrestling promoters get stuck in you doing the same thing. Well, he's always a tag team. Well, Bobby didn't need to be a tag team after that. He'd already done that. He needed to be featured as a single wrestler and be able to see what we saw years before in his interview skills, and not to be covered up, and not to say that Cornette didn't play or Paul Heyman didn't play an important part, but he needed to shine himself by himself. And he had the talent to do it.
Oh, yeah. Rick Brooks said, I also believe Eaton and Condrey was the best version. Richard Hood, Rodney, who was the better midnight? And I think you answered that question.
Condrey Eaton, yes.
Charles said he's 100% right. Condrey was better fit. I enjoy Stan, but the first version was the absolute fit. And I think we probably all agree with that. Dennis Condrey was a tremendous wrestler, by the way.
Yes. Awesome. And another one that can, like I said, never saw him have a bad match ever.
No. Bobby Eaton was a great entertainer. I don't think he looked at himself as an entertainer, but I think he looked at himself as a wrestler. I don't think he thought of himself as an entertainer. Sidney Eubanks, that leg drop off the top rope was classic. Did you ever work against Bobby?
Yes, I did. Back when he turned heel around here, I done some shows for Nick on the weekends, and I can't remember who was my partner, but we worked him and Tojo in Huntsville.
Wow. Did you enjoy working against Bobby?
I'm sorry?
Did you enjoy working against Bobby?
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course. I worked Bobby many times before we got in the business, so we knew pretty much each other's ways when we trained. And when I said that about training, we didn't have nobody to train us. We didn't. But once we got in, that's when they all took over with Bobby and me, even the Samoans. Y'all remember that with
yes.
With Ken Hawk, I believe.
Ken Hawk.
Yes.
Yeah. They really helped us out. Me and Bobby worked them in Nashville and in spot shows, and we had nothing but help out of everybody when we got in there. We listened. We didn't contradict them on anything, and we done what they tell us to.
Okay.
And when I said we didn't get no training, we really didn't to get into business. But once we got in there, yes, we had all kind of help. Tojo was a dear friend of mine. You know, he was great. And Mason, Pago Pago, y'all remember Pago Pago?
Yes.
Yes.
Woo-hoo. One time, tell you a story about that. And we was in Nashville, and guess who went over with Pago Pago? Right here.
Did you?
I said, Pago, I'm sorry. He said, no. He said, I know who it is. You know, he said, we'll go down. We have a great match, and we did. We did. Pago was.
You know, I loved over the, you mentioned Tojo, and I loved over the years that Bobby, I think, was paying tribute to Tojo over the many, many years, because he never, I don't think I ever saw him in a match that he didn't do the Tojo sneak up behind and scratch the man's back, run the fingers down him. He did that, and I loved it every time, and I knew it. I knew it was him saying, you know, thank you, Tojo, because it had to be. It absolutely had to be, and he did it. I think just every match he would do that, just like Tojo, who would sneak up behind, like he was sneaking up, and he'd do the scratch down the back. I love that.
And you know, every time you get in the ring with Tojo, he's teaching. You know, he's that type of a guy. He would teach you.
Charlie, I believe that's Singler, top 5 tag team. Bobby was one of a kind. He had that punch slap that he perfected to where you thought you could almost feel it. Yes. And you didn't see it like you can today in some of the stuff. James Martin, very true. Bobby Lewis. I was blessed enough to have Bobby as my uncle. He would take me on the road with him many times over the years, and met many of the wrestlers. Talk about a boyhood dream. It didn't get any better. Was the first wrestler I got to meet. Let's see. This goes on down. It won't let you go.
I got it. I got to meet Ricky and Robert, Rock and Roll Express, and the list goes on and on. I loved and looked up to him as a wrestler, but more so as a man. He was such a role model to me in how to treat everyone with the utmost respect and dignity while still being humble. Thank you guys for all the kind words you were saying. It means the world to me and my family.
You are very
our condolences to you, and heartfelt, and we thank you for sharing Bobby with us over those years.
Yes, he was tremendous. Sydney Eubanks. Did we already just? My favorite matches of the Midnight Express was against the Rock and Roll Express. Sydney also said I enjoyed it when he was a member of the Dangerous Alliance, and he was very good while he was with Paulie Dangerously. Well, he was. I guess he was Paulie Dangerously at that time. We keep losing Bobby's buddy cell phone. That would be a good interview. Yeah, he goes in and out, but the last couple of times he stayed in there.
Yeah,
he found him a good spot outside his house right there. Even though if we keep on standing on here longer, there'll be nothing but a black screen sitting there. He'll just we'll hear him talk, but we'll see nothing but a black screen. Cool. James Martin, Richard Hood. I thought Bobby and Steve Kern's tag team should have got a bigger push in World. Did they team with each other?
Yes, they were the new fabulous ones, or kind of. Yeah, Steve Kern had the dummy with the coat and hat, quite like he was teaming with Stan Lane, and so he was trying to fill this coat and hat, and so Bobby Eaton was his partner.
I don't remember this. I don't remember this happening. Jack, do you remember this?
I don't remember that one.
Do you remember? Do you remember it? Do you remember?
Vaguely, I do remember he teamed with Steve for a little bit. Now, I didn't watch a whole lot once WCW went out. I didn't watch. Once they went out, that was it for me.
I'm not for sure, but I don't know. I don't know where I was at during this point in time.
Yes.
Alan Martin is with us. How you doing, Alan? A great professional wrestler. If you've not seen Alan Martin wrestle, put it on your YouTube. Tremendous wrestler.
We got to get Alan on here sometime so I can tell the story of the world's longest tie string on a pair of tights.
James Martin, do you all have a good time He's Jimmy Valentine. I don't even know what that means. Somebody really needs to be looking over these before I go. Charles, great show, guys. Because I don't really read them before I put them up there.
Well, Orville, were you Jimmy Valentine at any time in your career?
No, I was not.
Okay, I was making sure. We know you were the Brown Bomber, which we now know why. I mean,
Yeah.
we know the reason.
I knew a ton of Valentines, but I don't remember a Jimmy.
He may explain who that is. We might know who he is.
I like them both, Dennis and Stan. So there you go. Mimi Barboza. Love that name. Hello, gentlemen. Condolences to Mr. Eaton's family and friends. Thomas Alexander. Bobby was so good, and I loved him in Arn's matches. Now, they had some good matches together. Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, great tag team. If you didn't get to see the matches, they're available. I believe they're available on the WWE Network, aren't they, Jack?
Yep.
I don't have the WWE Network, so I'm not trying to push it. I'm not going to get paid or nothing for that. But if you haven't seen them, watch those matches. Tremendous. Quick question. Who's watching the premiere of AEW Rampage this Friday? I will not be watching it. Jack, you be watching
I will.
it? Rodney, will you be watching it?
When is it on?
Friday.
No, I won't be watching that.
Arvel, will you be watching the AEW Rampage?
No.
Yeah.
From my understanding, it comes on right after SmackDown.
I saw the commercials for it. I was watching. I think it was Star Wars on there.
Does that mean it'll come on at 10 o'clock at night? Mm-hmm. No, I'll be asleep. I have to get up. I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning on Saturday, so I will be asleep at by 9 o'clock. Basically, I'll be asleep by then. Thomas Alexander and Arn said he loved it when they put the single belt on him. James Martin, thank you for doing this tribute to Bobby. He would have loved it. Rest in peace. Wesley Strickland, we miss him. Rest in peace. And then we've got Glenn Allen Shelton, Bad Attitude. Was that the name of Steve Kernan? Bobby?
He possibly, yeah. That's what. That's right. That's right. It was Bad Attitude.
Yeah, Jeffrey said that as well.
It was kind of a. It's kind of a. They were kind of wearing the coats and the hats, but I couldn't remember the names. I thought they were the New Fabulous Ones, but you're right. It's Bad Attitude. I just couldn't. Anyway, Steve Kernan was involved.
So cards and letters directly to
Victor, that's 9 p.m. here in the real world.
All right, we are going to get off here. Arvel, I want to let you have your last words on Bobby Eaton, and we'll go through everybody. What do you got to say about Bobby Eaton right now?
Just didn't have enough time with him. Bobby, there'll never be another one like him. He was a great guy, great worker, and he cared about everybody. And I just wish I could have got to talk to him before this happened. I tried, but Bobby, he's hard hearing. He didn't hear my phone. And I said, well, he'll call me back in a day or two. But Bobby, no, it'll never be another one. I don't think it'll be another worker like him either.
Yeah.
He will be missed.
Yeah, great. Jack, final comments.
Great guy. I'm thankful for this year of being able to spend as much time as I did with Bobby. He was very instrumental in the direction of Wrestle South. He helped Mike and I behind the scenes. He helped the guys. He was just so great with the fans out there. He absolutely was in his element, meeting all those fans and talking to them. And, he spent his career being a bad guy for the most part, but he was the most loved bad guy I think I've ever seen in this industry.
Yeah, I would agree. Rodney?
I think Jack said it best. Victor asked the question, did Bobby ever want to be a single wrestler? Bobby just wanted to be a wrestler. It didn't matter what it was. It didn't matter if it's tag team or whatever he was asked to do, he did. And that was the key. And the reason that he could do anything that anybody asked him to is because he was just that great. There's a very few in the business that we can put, they are the all-round wrestler. Brad Armstrong is one, Bobby Eaton is another. just never will be another talent like this. And there we see him with Stan, and there he is in the beginning. Just tremendous.
He will be missed. One of the greats of professional wrestling. He wrestled for the fans, and he wanted to entertain the fans, and that was his whole point. And being a wrestler, he wanted to entertain the fans, and he will certainly be missed. And so many of the greats are passing on, and we hope here at Pro Wrestling Inside Now we can keep their memories alive. Thank you all so much, and we'll see everyone Monday night, and we will be talking to Steve Armstrong as long as he can get on. Now we need to put a thing up there. Sometimes you
Card
can't
subject to change.
Yeah, card subject to change, or as we used to say, the card will change. That was because it did. All right, thank y'all so much, and we'll see everybody.
That was us being one of those disturbers Bobby was talking about.
Yeah, that was one of the. Yeah, that's true. Let's go ahead. Victor wanted to do the 10 bell.
Time.
Let's go ahead and do that.
We'll do that, and we'll close out. Thank you, guys.